welcome back. I'm John, old YouTuber. It's 1st September and I did pay my bills today. It's 3:20 and still have a lot of power on this camcorder. I just made a Danish video, so I'm uploading that. Yes, I have to read about this Acer Aspire, but there's nothing about this models. This Acer Aspire XC6, there's nothing about this models. This is a i3 4th generation. There's nothing about this model. The M5910, that's i5 650. That's Intel Core, the 1st generation. So there's nothing on Wikipedia about that. So, but I start to get tired because it's 30 degrees hot in my apartment, like the last 1 month. So that's the DDR3 memory. I think we have DDR3 memory in this old computers. Even the oldest one even have, I think they all have DDR3 memory. Maybe this one I did buy there, the Intel Core i3 4th generation, maybe have DDR4, but I don't think so. I don't know where the DDR4 was out. I think that was year 2014. Could be DDR4. But we're reading that DDR3 was in 2007. That's 11 pages, so that will be 2-part video. Yes, but problem, I cannot remember all this, but actually this is super important because I do this project with my old PC gamer computers. I need to know all the different kind of memories. No, not just. I just not need to know about the DDR3, 2 and 4. I need to know these numbers there. Because I think you cannot mix if you have to put like 16 GB memory inside only. I think you need to have the same clock rates. You cannot just put 8 GB, 800 and one of this and one of this. I think the clock rate needs to be the same. On the memory, you cannot mix the clock rate, so that's a big difference from there. This clock rate there. So that's a big difference from. So DDR3 RAM is not just DDR3 RAM, because you need to find out what number, what clock rate, and maybe the motherboard and the chipset need to support. You cannot just replace this with the fastest one, because I think the chipset and motherboard maybe need to support it. I'm not sure, but you can search that on the Google. You just search on the model and motherboards. No, you just search Acer Aspire, this XC605, then you find someone have write about it. Yes, let's read it.
DDR3 SDRAM. DDR3 SDRAM double data rate 3 synchronous dynamic random access memory type of RAM 2013 Transcend TS512 MLK72V6N, straightened. .jpg. 4GB PC3-12800 ECC DDR3 DIMM Developer Jedective Synchronous Dynamic Random Access Memory, SDRAM. Generation 3 Road Generation Release Date 2007 Standards DDR3-800, PC3-6400, DDR3-1066, PC3-8500, DDR3-1333, PC3-10600, DDR3-1600, PC3-12800, DDR3-1866, PC3-14900, DDR3-2133, PC3-17000. Clock rate 400 1066 ms voltage reference 1.5 predecessor DDR2 SDRAM 2003 successor DDR4 SDRAM 2014 double data rate 3 synchronous dynamic random access memory DDR3 SDRAM is a type of synchronous dynamic random access memory SDRAM with a high bandwidth double data rate interface and has been in use since 2007. It is higher speed successor to DDR and DDR2 and predecessor to DDR4 synchronous dynamic random access memory SDRAM chips. DDR3 SDRAM is neither forward nor backward compatible with any earlier type of random access memory RAM because of different signaling voltages, timings, and other factors. DDR3 is a DRAM interface specification. The actual DRAM arrays that store the data are similar to earlier types, with similar performance. The primary benefit of DDR3's DRAM over its immediate predecessor, DDR2's SDRAM, is its ability to transfer data at twice the rate, 8 times the speed of its internal memory arrays, enabling higher bandwidth or peak data rates. The DDR3 standard permits DRAM chip capacities of up to 8 gigabits bit, and up to 4 ranks of 64 bits each for a total maximum of 16 gigabytes GB per DDR3 DIMM. Because of our hardware limitation not fixed until Ivy Bridge in 2013, Intel CPUs only support up to 4-bit chips for 8GB DIMMs. Intel's Core 2 DDR3 chipsets only support up to 2-bit. All AMD CPUs correctly support the full specification for 16GB DDR3 DIMMs. 1. Contents. History successor. Specification overview. Dual inline memory modules. Latencies. Power consumption. Modules. Serial presence detect release 4. XMP extension. Variants DDR3L and DDR3U extensions. Feature summary. Components. Modules. Technological advantages over DDR2. See also. Notes. References. External links. History. In February 2005, Samsung introduced the first prototype DDR3 memory chip. Samsung played a major role in the development and standardization of DDR3.2.3. In May 2005, Desi Roden, chairman of the JEDEC committee, stated that DDR3 had been under development for about 3 years. 4. DDR3 was officially launched in 2007, but sales were not expected to overtake DDR2 until the end of 2009, or possibly early 2010, according to Intel strategist Carlos Weissenberg, speaking during the early part of their rollout in August 2008. 5. The same timescale for market penetration had been stated by market intelligence company DRAM Exchange over a year earlier in April 2007. 6. And by Desi Roden in 2005. 4. The primary driving force behind the increased usage of DDR3 has been new Core i7 processors from Intel and Phenom 2 processors from AMD, both of which have internal memory controllers. The former requires DDR3, the latter recommends it. IDC stated in January 2009 that DDR3 sales will account for 29% of the total DRAM units sold in 2009, rising to 72% by 2011. 7. Successor. In September 2012, JEDEC released the final specification of DDR4.8. The primary benefits of DDR4 compared to DDR3 include a higher standardized range of clock frequencies and data transfer rates, 9, and significantly lower voltage. Specification. Overview. Compared to DDR2 memory, DDR3 memory uses less power. Some manufacturers further propose using dual-gate transistors to reduce leakage of current. 10. According to JEDEC, 1.575 volts should be considered the absolute maximum when memory stability is the foremost consideration, such as in servers or other mission-critical devices. In addition, JEDEC states that memory modules must withstand up to 1.80 volts, before incurring permanent damage, although they are not required to function correctly at that level. 11. 109. Another benefit is its prefetch buffer, which is 8 burst deep. In contrast, the prefetch buffer of DDR2 is 4 burst deep, and the prefetch buffer of DDR is 2 burst deep. This advantage is an enabling technology in DDR3's transfer speed. Physical comparison of DDR2, and DDR3 SDRAM3 long green circuit boards, identical in size, but each with a notch in a different location. Desktop PCs, DIMM, 3 short green circuit boards, identical in size, but each with a notch in a different location. Notebook and convertible PCs, so DIMM. DDR3 modules can transfer data at a rate of 802,133 mount/s using both rising and falling edges of a 400/1066 MHz I/clock. This is twice DDR2's data transfer rates, 400/1066 mount/s using a 200/533 MHz I/clock. And 4 times the rate of DDR, 200/400 mount/s using a 100/200 MHz I/clock. High-performance graphics was an initial driver of such bandwidth requirements, where high bandwidth data transfer between frame buffers is required. Because the Hertz is a measure of cycles per second, and no signal cycles more often than every other transfer. Describing the transfer rate in units of megahertz is technically incorrect, although very common. It is also misleading because various memory timings are given in units of clock cycles, which are half the speed of data transfers. DDR3 does use the same electric signaling standard as DDR and DDR2, stub series terminated logic, albeit at different timings and voltages. Specifically, DDR3 uses SSTL_15.13. In February 2005, Samsung demonstrated the first DDR3 memory prototype, with a capacity of 512 MB and a bandwidth of 1.066 Gbps. 2. Products in the form of motherboards appeared on the market in June 2007. 14. Based on Intel SP35 BERLAC chipset with DIMMs at bandwidths up to DDR3-1600, PC3-12800. 15. The Intel Core i7, released in November 2008, connects directly to memory rather than via a chipset. The Core i7, i5 and i3 CPUs initially supported only DDR3. AMD's Socket M3 Phenom 2X4 processors, released in February 2009, were their first to support DDR3, while still supporting DDR2 for backwards compatibility. Dual inline memory modules. DDR3 dual inline memory modules, DIMMs, have 240 pins and are electrically incompatible with DDR2. A key notch located differently in DDR2 and DDR3 DIMMs prevents accidentally interchanging them. Not only are they keyed differently, but DDR2 has rounded notches on the side and the DDR3 modules have square notches on the side. 16. DDR3 SODIMMs have 204 pins. 17. For the Skylake microarchitecture, Intel has also designed a SODIMM package named UNIDIMM, which can use either DDR3 or DDR4 chips. The CPU's integrated memory controller can then work with either. The purpose of UNIDIMMs is to handle the transition from DDR3 to DDR4, where pricing and availability may make it desirable to switch IAM type. UNIDIMMs have the same dimensions and number of pins as regular DDR4 SODIMMs, but the notch is placed differently to avoid accidentally using in an incompatible DDR4 SODIMM socket. 18. Latencies. DDR3 latencies are numerically higher because the I/O bus clock cycles by which they are measured are shorter. The actual time interval is similar to DDR2 latencies, around 10 ns. There is some improvement because DDR3 generally uses more recent manufacturing processes, but this is not directly caused by the change to DDR3. CAS latency, ns, equals 1000 cl, cycles, divided by clock frequency, megahertz, equals 2000 cl, cycles, divided by transfer rate, mount/s, while the typical latencies for a JEDEC DDR2-800 device were 5-5-5-15, 12.5 ns. Some standard latencies for JEDEC DDR3 devices include 7-7-7-20 for DDR3-1066, 13.125 ns, and 8-8-8-24 for DDR3-1333, 12 ns. As with earlier memory generations, faster DDR3 memory became available after the release of the initial versions. DDR3-2000 memory with 9-9-9-28 latency, 9 ns, was available in time to coincide with the Intel Core i7 release in late 2008, 19, while later developments made DDR3-2400 widely available, with CL912 cycles equals 7.510 ns, and speeds up to DDR3-3200 available, with CL13 cycles equals 8.125 ns. Power consumption. Power consumption of individual SDRAM chips, or, by extension, DIMMs, varies based on many factors including speed, type of usage, voltage, etc. Dell's Power Advisor calculates that 4 GB ECC DDR1333 RDIMMs use about 4 W each. 20. By contrast, a more modern mainstream desktop-oriented Part 8 GB DDR3/1600 DIMM is rated at 2.58 W, despite being significantly faster. 21. Modules. List of standard DDR3 SDRAM modules. Name a kit bus dimming standard tip module clock rate, megahertz, cycle time, ns, 22, clock rate, megahertz, transferit, mount/s, bandwidth, MB/s, CLTRCD tip CAS latency, ns, DDR3 800 DPC 364010004008006400555512.5 E66615 DDR3 1066 EPC 38500133131366238533136611.25 F7-7-713.125 G88815 DDR3 1333 F